وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him, and peace and blessings be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is His messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair for being with us, and please don't forget always to make dua for us في ظهر الغيب. You know, دعاء المسلم إن شاء الله لأخيه والمؤمن لأخيه في ظهر الغيب إن شاء الله يستجاب. You know, when you make dua for your brother, while no one knows that you are making this dua, this will be much more closer for sincerity. So the possibility of accepting this dua is so high. So let's all the time inshallah make dua for each other. Jazakumullah khair. Right, today is our fourth session. Quick reminder for a few minutes with what we have done last time. And today, inshallah, we will be deleting with, let's say, two main concepts. Concept number one, we will be highlighting the concept of Ahlul Fatra. This is special Islamic terminology. We will come to it, which means how do we look to the people who passed away after the time of a prophet or a messenger ended, before receiving another prophet and messenger. They came in the middle, so they did not receive a message, okay? They are called in the Islamic terminology Ahl al-Fatra. The reason why, because there is a debate about what is the destination of the father and the mother of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's good to know. It's not so important. Now, knowing this is not a basic part of your aqidah. However, putting this in its right place will help you not to let anyone push this topic to be as if it is the most important topic in Islam. Because some people, unfortunately, they use it as if it's the most important topic. Okay? So it's good to know, because this is Majlis Ilm. We need to know, this is one of the basic. Then we will start dealing with the beginning of the birth of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? Now, last time I gave very quickly an information with some kind of lessons about that Mecca is the first house was built by the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for monotheism, with Tawheed. We have some narrations about it was built as foundations by the angels. However, the first person who made it as a building was what? Ibrahim alayhi salam, because the Quran says inna awwala baytin wudi'a lin-nas lalladhi bi Bakkah mubarakan, and the rest when and he praised Ibrahim and Ishmael while they were doing so. Now, and we have a quick idea about Ibrahim alayhi salam, Hajar alayhi salam, and Ismail and Ishaq. And we highlighted very quickly that we have a great big difference between the Jewish way of understanding, Jewish plus Christians, compared with the Islamic faith and belief. Now, pause. When you believe in something and someone else believes in something, don't waste. Are you with me? I repeat. But how can we know who's right and wrong? If you believe that Allah told you it is Ismail, period. Don't waste your time in giving any slight of consideration for the others, because it's part of your faith to believe what Allah has told you. If you want to compare it with Torah or what others could be saying as if we are in a scientific lab, chemistry lab, you might lose your faith. So please be careful. Be careful. Allah is the one who told us that the one who was about to be slaughtered was فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَا وَتَلَّهُ لِلْجَبِينِ وَنَادَيَا, and it was mentioned that it was Ismail alayhi salam, clearly. So it's not ijtihad, which means it's not a clever conclusion from us, which means it accepts the possibility of dispute. No. clearly. طب who's right or wrong? I don't care what they say. It's good to know what they say, because you know why you need to know what others are saying. Do you know why? For more than a reason. فلولا نفر من كل فرقة طائفة ليتفقهوا في الدين ولينذروا قومهم إذا رجعوا إليهم لعلهم يحذرون. Okay? Which means this ayah, Allah is urging us that a group of us, which is called Fardul Kifaya in our terminology, a group of us should be knowledgeable, having the knowledge in each part of knowledge, so that they can understand and they can come, educate Muslims and believers to protect them and to take care. Because if you don't have the knowledge, okay, about your faith and other faiths and what could be saying and attacking, and there's a gap they might delve into from it. Some people, they might lose their. You need experts to deal with. It's exactly the same idea. We need specialists in the area of medicine to protect us from viruses and microbes. In the area of medicine, in the area of pharmacology, in the area of whatever, we need people to protect us. Okay. One of the things that we mentioned last time as well, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, that it is proved for us the linealogy, okay, which is the descent from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to, do you remember the name? Adnan, mashallah. Okay, about 21 person between Adnan and Ismail or Ishmael, we have no idea. There's nothing authentic. For sure, the ulama, they know. This is the information that we have. And we have a quick idea about Al-Arab Al-Ariba, Al-Arab Al-Musta'riba, and Al-Arab Al-Ba'ida. Do you remember? 3 categories, just to know. And we know the understanding how Ibrahim a.s. came from Iraq. It could be, who said? Kildaniyin. Chaldeans, okay? Assyrians, Syriac, regardless, he came from Iraq. But he was not an Arab. So we knew how they got mixed through Ismail a.s. and Jurumana and so on. So this is very quickly part of what we have done last time. Okay, today. Now, you need to know the following. Now, the idea of what we call al-dhabih, the slaughtered. Slaughtered means the one that was about to be slaughtered. In our faith is what? Ismail. In their faith, Ishaq. Now, do you know what's the importance of this? Because now, the person who accepted to be slaughtered for the sake of Allah, honoring the commandment and his father, is a praised person. Everyone feels proud to be attributed to him. We are not talking about a normal person. Are you with me? Now, let's see part just to increase your knowledge about this. Now, in the book of Genesis, I think once I told you that when we say the word Bible, Bible means the holy book in Greek language. Oh, sorry, it's from the Greek language, okay? It's in English, but it is, I don't know how to say it in Greek, Bible, I don't know, who knows Greek? Anyway, originally Bible means the holy book. Now, the Bible of Jews and Christians, basically, it contains 2 main parts. The biggest part is the Old Testament. The smallest part is the New Testament. The first part, which is the Old Testament, basically, it's the one which is attributed to the Jews. The Jews, they do not recognize the second part. They don't care with the New Testament. Okay, it's not theirs. The second part, basically, the New Testament, which contains, part of what it contains, the 4 Gospels of John and Mark and, Luke, etc. And the messages of St. Paul. Now, all of them, we call them the Bible. The first book or the first 5 chapters of the Bible, they are called the Torah. Torah Musa, the first chapters. The first one of the Torah, which is the same, the first of the Old Testament, which is the first of the Bible, called the book of Genesis. Sifr at-Takween, the beginning of everything. In this Sifr, I will read to you what the Torah tells Ibrahim alayhi salam about his offspring. It says, I will indeed bless you. Allah, according to the Torah, God is addressing who? Ibrahim alayhi salam. I will indeed bless you, and I will make your offspring as numerous as the stars of heaven and as the sand that is on the seashore, which means there will be in numbers what? Huge numbers. Now, and your offspring shall possess the gate of their enemies, the book of Genesis. Now, if we want to use the common sense, the practical common sense, whose offspring now is 20 and 20 times and 30, 35 times than the other? The children of Ishaq or the children of Ismail? Done, ya Khali? Are you with me? Practically, according to the text, I will bless your offspring, and I will make them like the stars of heaven, كنجوم السماء, and the sand of the seashore, like كرمال البحر. Now, you know, they are now at most 20 million, and the blessings went to who? Practically. This is not a philosophy. This is an actual reality. Who is bigger in numbers? No, Muslim. I'm talking about the offspring. The text says, وَسَأُبَارِكُ نَسْلَكَ. I will bless your offspring. Now, for them, we claim it's Ismail. For them, they claim it's Yitzhak. Practically, the blessings which is attributed to the one who was about to be slaughtered. Practically, who? Ismail. The children of Ismail. So even if someone claims otherwise, practically, it's against their claim. Unless there's a mathematical way that the 400 millions could disappear and the 20 millions could be 400 millions in a very short time. I don't know mathematically if it's possible. Anyway, but just you need to know that. This something has to do with the reality and the actual application between the text and what we live in. Anyway, this is part of what we discussed partly last time or somehow. Now, today I will give a very quick idea about what we call Ahl al-Fatra. Ahl al-Fatra, people who lived after the death of a messenger of God and before the mission of another, without having a prophet sent to them. Now, why do we need these debates? Let's go back to square number one of what we explained last time. Do you remember that the beginning of the Arabic Peninsula and Mecca with Ibrahim alayhi salam, Ismail alayhi salam, it was Tawheed, monotheism. So all of them, they were worshipping who? And we told about Amr bin Luhay. Do you remember? According to the Hadith al-Sahih, we don't know the ghaib. We don't know the ghaib. Prophet Muhammad told us, because Allah told him, قال إني رأيت ورؤيا الأنبياء وحي حق. Which means now, when a prophet sees part of the types of revelation, when the prophet sleeps, while he's sleeping, if he saw a vision, the vision is part of the revelation. Okay? قال إني رأيت عمرو بن لحي يجر أمعاءه في النار. Amr ibn Luhay, I saw him, trying to pulling, شو حكينا الأمعاء بالإنجليزي؟ Intestines. He was pulling his intestines in the hellfire because he was the first one who pushed the Arabs to worship idols after a long time of monotheism. Here, okay, now this is one, from one angle. Number two, we have a hadith sahih Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says he was traveling outside the Medina. At a certain point, he left his Sahaba. He went down to like an old grave, and he started crying heavily. Then the Sahaba came to him, Ya Rasulullah, ma tabki? Qal, this is the grave of my mother. Now, what could be strange, قال إني استأذنت ربي أن أزور قبر أمي فأذن لي فاستأذنت ربي أن أستغفر لها فلم يأذن لي. He said, I asked the permission to visit the grave of my mother. I was given the permission by Allah. Then I asked to do what? Ask forgiveness for her. I was not given the permission. I know it's strange, but this is in the hadith. Sahih Prophet Muhammad wasn't prevented. طيب. Now here comes, we know about Amr ibn Luhay, we know about this hadith, because she passed away before Prophet Muhammad was given the Risala. True or false? طيب. Now when we put this and that compared with many indications, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. Now, from one angle we have Amr ibn Luhay, and we have, for example, this hadith of Prophet Muhammad about, and we have another hadith sahih as well, third one. Keep in your mind, because I will give you the two opinions, and I will tell you why we have this kind of dispute, and what is the most proper way how to deal with this area, so that no one will just keep playing with your time how to tackle this problem. The third hadith, that a man asked Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, his father, this man's father, passed away at the time of the Jahiliyyah. He said, Ya Rasulullah, it's part of a long hadith. قال أين أبي? Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not know. He does not know the ghaib. Where is my father? Which means, what was his destination? Of course, does Prophet Muhammad know the ghaib by himself? قال فابتعد الرجل ثم ناداه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن أبي وأباك في النار. He said, your father and my father, both of them, they are in the hell fire. So we have this and this hadith where Amr ibn Luhay, the father of the Prophet and the mother of the Prophet. In the same time, we have a very strong ayah, such as, I will just recite very quickly. وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. This is called Nass 'Am, a general text. Verily, we were not to punish anyone or any group of people before we send what? A messenger. Fine. Another ayah, وَلَوْ أَنَّا أَهْلَكْنَاهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ, the previous one from chapter Al-Isra. This one from Surah Taha. وَلَوْ أَنَّا أَهْلَكْنَاهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ مِّن قَبْلِهِ لَقَالُوا رَبَّنَا لَوْلَا أَرْسَلْتَ إِلَيْنَا رَسُولًا فَنَتَّبِعَ آيَاتِكَ مِن قَبْلِ أَن نَذِلَّ وَنَخْزَى. The context, Allah is saying, if I punished them without sending a messenger, they could have said, and they have the justification to say, but Ya Allah, you did not send us a messenger. Pause now. You need to know the following. Very important. You need to distinguish. Apart from Prophet Muhammad alone, he was the only prophet that was sent for humanity. Before Prophet Muhammad, everyone was sent to a group of people at a certain time. You need to know this. Because none of the prophets was sent for all. That's why, part of our faith, which includes in this equation that we will say. Now, Nuh alayhi salam for his people. Musa alayhi salam for the children of Israel. Isa alayhi salam for children of Israel. It's our faith. I'm not discussing what they believe. I'm talking about what we believe. We believe he was sent exclusively to. And by the way, still now in the Bible there are texts about قال وأني ما أرسلت إلا لخراف بني إسرائيل الضالة. It's still, the text is there. Now, I have not sent but to the lost sheep of the people of Israel. Anyway, my point is not, but just you need to know what we believe, okay? We believe everyone before Prophet Muhammad, prophets and messengers, exclusively just limited to a group of people. And the text says for us, and the final one was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We believe that the Quran is the final, the last message. And Prophet Muhammad is the seal of the prophets. And Quran contains everything has been revealed at a time as the final constitution for humanity. So therefore, and the text says, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. We have not, Allah will not, we will not punish without sending a messenger. قال ذلك أن لم يكن ربك in chapter Al-An'am ذلك أن لم يكن ربك مهلك القرى بظلم وأهلها غافلون. We would never punish or destroy or bring the torment against any group if they were what? Ignorance. Still they are not aware. No, we will warn them first. Which means in our Islamic terminology, we will do what we call it إقامة الحجة. We will establish the argument against them, which means a messenger, a prophet, this is right, this is wrong, do this, something. When they refuse clearly, then the punishment will come or they will be rewarded. إلا قوم يونس. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about them, فَمَتَّعْنَاهُمْ آمَنُوا. They believe that Allah favored them and, sent His blessings upon them. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. طيب. Now another verse from chapter Al-Ma'idah. يا أهل الكتاب قد جاءكم رسولنا يبين لكم على فترة من الرسل أن تقولوا ما جاءنا من بشير ونذير. Allah is stating it clearly that we have sent you a messenger after a period of, emptiness in terms of this. There is no futur. Futur now means, as a terminology, that a period of time where there was no prophets or messengers, completely empty. Now, when you put this وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهِمْ قَبْلَكَ مِنْ نَذِيرٍ لِتُنْذِرَ قَوْمٌ مَا أَتَاهُمْ مِنْ نَذِيرٍ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَهْتَدُونَ. When you put all these things, you will find two big, superficial, contradicting opinions. Most of the ayat, they say no punishment without a messenger and a prophet. No punishment without iqamat al-hujjah, establishment, which is true with the whole idea of the core of Islam. Like, how can we understand this? The others? There is some kind of explanations. Generally speaking, the best way is to say the following. We don't know for sure what will happen to anyone from Ahlul Fatra. But we believe in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will not deal with them with any kind of injustice. Now, you add to this the following. Part of our aqidah, when we have a very strong dalil and evidences, that some people will be tested in the Day of Judgment. According to Hadith Sahih, they will be tested there. Some people they say, what? Tested? Yes. Do you know this? Do you know that some people, we don't have a clear cut that everyone from those people will be tested. But we have Hadith Sahih about some people, they will be tested. If they accepted the da'wah of Allah, they will go to the Jannah. If they refuse, they will go to the hellfire. Some people might say, Ya Sheikh, please respect our minds. They will be tested. Alam al-Ghayb, all will be reality for them. How come they will be tested? طيب يا سيدي ومستر إبليس عالم الغيب كان يقول إيش؟ Mr. Iblis. You know Mr. Iblis? Ghaib, was it a reality or ghaib for him? Was he witnessing the creation of Adam or not? Was he attending the assembly of Al-Mala' Al-A'la with the Malaika or not? طيب, prostrates. What was his reaction? So do you think the test a condition if you witness you will not reject? No. No. Wallahi. Do you think there should be more than Abu Lahab to be the first believer? knows the reality of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than Abu Lahab? He was one of, his direct uncle. And he was so happy when he was born, to a degree that some narrations, they are not so authentic, that he freed, the slave girl, that she gave him the glad tidings. Thuwayba, I think her name. She gave him, Ya Abu Lahab, your nephew, your nephew has come, Muhammad. He was so happy to agree he freed her from slavery. But some people, they say, and some kind of the adab will be reduced. This is not authentic. There's no authenticity in this akhbar, okay? Now, he knows about him, and he saw his amazing, characteristics in him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was protecting him with a special divine protection. And we will study this. What used to happen from what we call irhasat al-nubuwah. Have you heard this terminology? Irhasat. The irhas, as an Islamic terminology, means the indication that gives you an idea about something will happen later. When it happens, you will realize that you were given the signs for this. This is called irhas. Okay? But many things happen. Many things used to happen for Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and we will talk about them. One of the first witnesses for this was Abu Lahab. But he was the first of the kuffar and the people of hatred. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that. So, some people will be tested. The idea generally, why I'm telling you so? Unfortunately, some people, they are busy, the people in the internet now, is the father and the mother of Prophet Muhammad in the Jannah or in the Nar? Jannah or yes, the Jannah or Nar? Jannah, Nar, Jannah. You are a kafir, you are a woman, you are a kafir. Some people, they tackle it from a pure, emotional point of view. Allahu Akbar, ya akhi. How come? Ya ammi, it has nothing to do with the emotions, because we have Ali Sahih, or we don't know why it happened. Maybe, okay? For some people, they say, he was asked directly not to ask for istighfar for her. But is this a clear-cut indication she is from the people of the hellfire? No. But he was not. He was asked not to do this. We did not know why. So simply, in our Islamic terminology, we say, نَتَوَقَّفْ. Don't delve into this area. Don't fight anyone, okay? Don't say, plus, please, the possibility of the father and the mother Prophet Muhammad, they are in the hellfire or in the Jannah. It's not part of our basic aqidah. Because of them, we will go to the hellfire or to the Jannah, okay? It's part of the information that could help us to understand that period, okay? But what we need now is clear. So don't go with this or with that. Simply نتوقف. We stop. We have no assurance about this opinion or that. But we believe in the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now pause. What I will highlight now, what we need now, depending on the concept of Ahl al-Fatra. What's the concept of Ahl al-Fatra? A group of people, after a messenger, a prophet, they did not receive anything and they passed away before receiving a new messenger. Right. This concept of Ahl al-Fatra, is it applicable on some people now on earth? Yes, طبعا. I mean the concept. Do we have people now, they have not received anything? Is it possible? Yes, طبعا. Some people, they are living in the desert, some people in the Amazon, the Eskimos, I mean, generally speaking, theoretically, I'm not confirming that for sure, I know that the people of the Amazon, they have that. I mean, in theory. Is it possible that a group of people could be living somewhere on earth without receiving a message so far? Is it possible? طبعا possible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning about the people of the Arabs there, على فترة من الرسل ما أتاهم من قبلك من نذير. This was applicable before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It could be applicable at any time. Then what will happen to them? The same rules. Don't worry. Some of them will be tested in the day of judgment. Don't worry. But there is no injustice. But the question, let me sum up. Forget everything now. Everything we are highlighting is based on the following philosophical question. Have they realized or not? Did they receive or not? Who can for sure be 100% certain that this group of people, for sure, they knew or not? Who? Is it us? No. Therefore, let's conclude this with the following statement. Anyone on earth realized, understood that this could be the reality and ignored it, he will be a rejecter for the haqq. Now, how can I know? Who told you that you need to know? You have no access to know Islam. But tell the people about that. Did the people understand the hukum? Now, because now Prophet Muhammad said in the hadith, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ Why I'm saying this? Note this hadith, very important. You need, with an attitude of sympathy, to speak with your brothers and your sisters, Christian Arabs in specific, because this hadith is specifically for them. Literally. Hadith sahih. Prophet Muhammad قال وَالَّذِي نَفْسُ مُحَمَّدٍ بِيَدِهِ By the one whom the soul of Muhammad in his hand. Who's he? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is, a style of qasam, swearing. I swear by Allah. قال ما يسمع بي أحد من هذه الأمة من اليهود والنصارى ولا يؤمن بي إلا وحرم الله عليه الجنة. He said, any Jewish or Christian hears about me and he did not believe me, it will be prohibited for him to get into the Jannah. قال يسمع بي. Look, what was the condition? يسمع بي. Which means he heard about me. Me refers to what? Prophet Muhammad came with what? With a new mathematical theory. He came with Islam. قال والذي نفسه by Allah, any Jew or Christian from this ummah. When he said this ummah, he was referring to Ummah al-Arab, which means they understand. They realize what we are talking about. Okay? So if they receive that and they rejected, Jannah will be prohibited for them. If you want to delve into more, receiving means any information or it was received with a full corruption, still it's applicable, yes? What if he received it we are just terrorists and bad people, Prophet Muhammad is a bad guy, is it possible? By the way, especially some Arab countries, you are aware more what happens to those people in their temples and their worshipping places. What is the image of Muhammad for them? What they are taught about him. Is it possible that they don't have the right message? Yes. But can I say that I swear by Allah, every single person of them does not understand? La. Therefore, we tell them the following. We say, Habibi, look, I'm telling you that this is the final message. There are evidences inside it. Your fitra, your aql, your... So please do that. If you realize the haqq in this, even if you claim that you don't, you can't play games with Allah. Can you? No, you can't. And I will finish this argument, the whole idea of Ahl al-Fatra, and the people now, and Jews and Christians from the Arabs, all of them, with this simple example. I used to, and I will sum up the whole idea. You will have now the methodology to answer the questions about this. But what about this? What about that? You have the rule now. If they with justice. What could justice be? It's not your problem, don't worry. You don't know. They might be tested in the day of judgment, and you don't know if they know. If they know, but you think they don't know, but for Allah they know, they will be treated as they know or they don't know because you think that they don't know. Wallah, I'm not joking. If you think they don't know, a group of people, but in reality, as Allah knows, they know. Their accountability will be according to what you think, or according to what Allah knows that they know.
What Allah knows.
So just you convey the message. The example, the simple example, is the following. I said, if جزاكم الله خير على القهوة الله يكرمكم بارك جزاكم الله خير على الشيخ الكريم الله يكرمكم اليوم خربتوا أخلاقي شاي وقهوة ما شاء الله الله يجزيكم خير اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. على فكرة, by the way, if والله I'm not joking with what I will say now. So please don't laugh. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, decided to let us to be from the people of the Jannah, the first invitation for all of you will be in my house. Okay? Or my palace, inshallah. Okay? And you can choose whatever you want. And by the way, I used to tell my students, wallahi, apart from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the most important two persons, they influenced my character in my life in Islam. Do you know who? Two big characters for me. They shaped my understanding for Islam. Two characters from the Sahaba. The most. They shaped me. Do you know who? Umar al-Khattab number 1. Aisha number 2. For me. Umar and Aisha, one of the things that I would love, inshallah, by the beginning of Dukhul al-Jannah, I want to see them. And I want to invite all of you, on the honor, and they will be the honorary guests, inshallah. Umar and Aisha, inshallah. Okay? So if I forget, remind me. Wallahi, I'm not joking. Seriously, you don't know. You don't know. No one knows, inshallah. Inshallah, bi'idhnillah. And by the way, we have tens of ayats in the Quran told about that we will be remembering what used to happen in this dunya. إِنَّا كُنَّا قَبْلُ فِي أَهْلِنَا إِيش مُشْفِقِينَ فَمَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا وَوَقَانَا. Yes, we used to be oppressed. We used to be in the difficulties. And many times we used to be unable to express even our faith, our thoughts. And many times happened, subhanallah. فَمَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Allah has favored us. And we were protected from the punishment of the hellfire. قَالَ عَلَى سُرُرٍ مُتَقَابِلِينَ. We will be sitting on a divinely made couches. Not like this. كسر الظهر. No. You know كسر الظهر? No. It's amazing. Always. By the way, inshallah, in the way of explaining the Seerah, I will make special, bi'idhnillah, halaqats just to describe the Jannah. Inshallah, bi'idhnillah azza wa jal. You need to know about your final destination, the place of residence. Mustaqar. This is our final what? Istiqrar, the real sakan, inshallah. Anyway, why I said this? The example. The quick example is the following. Imagine that an army who's chasing a group of terrorists, they want to get rid of these evil people. They sent a soldier, colonel, lieutenant, whatever. Great soldier, honest one. He was sent to get rid of a cell of terrorists in the next place. He has a group of soldiers under his commandment. He went there just to bomb them, to get rid of them. Now, in theory, this commander, okay, he's a great person. Nice, honest, genuine, and he's doing that for the sake of humanity. Okay? We have no problem with him. And his name is David. Okay? He's not an Arab. Okay? He's not a Muslim. Ya ammi, أقول لك, he's an atheist. Whatever. So he went with all kind of beautiful human rights, all kind of genuine attitude to reduce number of people of evil from earth for the sake of protecting humanity. Okay, so far? Mm-hmm. So he was asked to bomb this place. When he went there, he decided to break the commandment for a while. He checked the place. He found an old woman, 70 plus, with 5 kids. The eldest of them is 7 years. Shaking, scared, because they will die now. No men, no weapons, no bombs, nothing has to do with terrorism. Nothing. The information for him was what? Go and bomb that place because it contains what? Terrorists. He's an eyewitness that there are no terrorists. Now he's in the middle of one of two decisions. This is a theoretical example. Now, all the media claimed that we came to free you from terrorists. That's why we are occupying your country. If this person was so honest for this, and he said, Ya Ammi, wait, hey, they are not terrorists. I mean, it's just an old woman. If this came to the media, the people will start thinking about other incidents. But he could be harming his army, and how honest or genuine in other previous campaigns. Now he has one of two options: to shut up his mouth, to continue fulfill his mission, which is boom, 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 boom. If he did so, he will be praised. All of them there, MashaAllah, nice group of soldiers. Alhamdulillah, we cleansed this area from terrorists. Tayyib. If he did it, the only one who has witnessed is himself. Now, Mr. David is standing before Allah on the Day of Judgment. David, oh, do you remember? Yes, Ya Allah, طبعا. ولا أنسى. What did you do? Ya Allah, they told me, no terrorist. Mumtaz, what did you see? Ya Allah, wallahi they told me. I'm asking, what did you see? Ya Allah, the media said. You are asked, what did you witness? But wallahi, Ya Allah, what did you witness? No terrorists, hellfire. This is the concept. Don't worry about what you think, what I think. The idea. If they know, accountability. That's it. If they don't know, Allah is al-adl. Justice, close the file. Okay? Clear? This is applicable in the past, nowadays, for the future. The core point, Allah is justice. But no one can play dirty games with Allah. Period. Okay? Come on. Right. Next point in our session today, inshallah. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now I will start dealing with the birth of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, of course, it's a huge details. I will pick and choose from that. Now, his father's name is Abdullah. His mother's name is Amina. طب Abdullah bin Abd al-Muttalib. وأن Amina bint Wahab. Now, they were married. Abdullah is the son of Abd al-Muttalib from Quraysh. Amina from Bani Adi from Al-Madinah. They were married. She was pregnant with Prophet Muhammad. Some narrations, they say he was still in his 2 months old in her, womb when his father passed away. So he was born as an orphan. Number one. We need to know that. Very important. Why? Allah. Now, there was like a tradition in the Arabic Peninsula for Arabs, or the Arabs, what they had this kind of, the way of they used to raise up their kids. On what concept in Arabic they say al-fasahatu, wal-balaghatu, wal-shahamatu, wal-rujula, which means they wanted to raise up their kids on the highest standard of, how to be a strong, honest man, and to speak with the, eloquent, rhetorical, high standard of the language. This was, the best place for that was in the deserts, not in the cities like Mecca or something. So it's part of the culture that the people of the deserts, because they used to have a better environment in terms of the oxygen, in terms of the food. It's like in our days now. Well, still our days. When you live in a city, pollution is higher. Food is less quality because it's full of everything else except food. Wallahi, by the way, do you know that we eat many things in reality, what is claimed to be inside it has nothing to do with what you eat? Industry and something, pollution, or whatever. Outside, in the farms and villages, everything is better for living in terms of the health, in terms of, less nervous, less depressed, less in everything. So anyway, this was the culture there, part of the culture. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was taken by the one who breastfed him. Her name is Halima al-Sa'diyya from Bani Sa'd. Now I think most of us, we read about the details of the blessings and the barakah that came to her, and there's a lot of details about she came to Mecca and she was about to find one of the kids, the orphans, so that she can breastfeed. And because his father passed away, he was classified as what? As an orphan. An orphan means there's no direct father to give generously this woman. So most of the women, they came, whenever they knew that he was an orphan, they refused. So at the end, Halima could not find anyone else who accepted him. Now we have a lot of details. All of them in general, they are not in the highest authentic, narrations, but they are acceptable. I mean, you can narrate them and depend on them. Okay? The idea, he was accepted and he was taken by Halima al-Sa'diyya to be breastfed and to live in the deserts with Qabilat Bani Sa'd. By the first 4 years of his life, he adapted and he achieved the fasaha, eloquency, and the high standard of the language before them. Now, when he finished 4 years, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he was sent back to his mother. Can you imagine? Pause now. Look how that tradition was so powerful, with all levels that you could ever imagine of emotions of mothers. They were traditionally forced for the sake of honor, for the sake of prestige. They were forced to leave their breastfed kids still. It is the most important time. I mean, I can't, Allah, and I myself now, in theory, I can't imagine how a mother can do so. But it was the culture. It was what's so powerful. So he was taken 4 years by the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He came back again to his mother. He lived with her 2 years. She passed away. He returned back to be a double orphan. Subhanallah. So by the age of 6, he lost his mother, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He lived after that with his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, the father of his father, Abdullah. How many years? 2 years. Then his grandfather passed away. So look, we have a lesson now. In this lesson, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was born as an orphan. Then he became an orphan again and again. So 3 times in the first 8 years of his life, he faced this difficult, let's say, destiny. One of the great lessons that some ulama concluded from this, one of them was the following. And it's a big lesson for us, by the way. Because some of us, now being an orphan, basically, you have lost your father and mother, it's not something easy. And really, we have this kind of sympathy and we have this kind of amazing emotions with those people, which is truly, really, this is one of the most difficult tests for anyone on earth. Tayyib, is it true that Allah loves Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Do you think that the Prophet Allah does not love Muhammad? Do you think? Oh, for sure he loves Muhammad. He chose him to be by the way, another pose. Do you know in our aqidah that the best of the creation, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? It's part of our aqidah. The best of the creation is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But ya Allah, how come if this is the best, why you did not let him enjoy living with his father and his mother? Allah's wisdom that we need to trust knows much more than what we know superficially. Who told you that?
To build character.
Yes, Jazakallah khair. This is part of the answer, yes. The wisdom of Allah knows much more better than what He needs. Part of it, to have a very strong character. And part of this is to have a character. This is the most important. I mean, they talk about many lessons. To feel with others, this kind of the people who have messed this up. You can have many, let's say, lessons. The best one, قال ليجعل قلبه غير متعلق بأحد إلا بالله. Look to it emotionally now. For the first few years of the life of any kid, a boy or a girl. ما بعرف أنا بعد كم من سنة رح نطلع لنا نحكي boy or girl ولا لا يعني بس يعني in case as long as still we are allowed alhamdulillah. Okay? Any kid and I mean boy or girl, okay? Exclusively. If a boy or a girl in the very beginning of his life, normally he will be completely attached as if he is in one piece with his mother. To a degree, when mothers stop breastfeeding, what we call it al-fitam. شو اسمه? Weaning? شو اسمه الفطام? When the mother stops breastfeeding, what's it called in English? Weaning off. Okay. Weaning. W-E-A-N-I-N-G. Okay. When the mother stops weaning, what happens for the child? Crying for days and nights. Crying. Why? His security zone that he was completely attached with was stopped. He's in need. He depends completely in his food on his mother. That's why this stage is one of the most difficult stages at that time for the child. Next, he will be attached and he will be very close to the father and the mother. Then to the family. That's why when they are taken to the kindergarten, one of the most difficult times in his life is the first day. Kindergarten, wallahi, the first day you ask yourself, ask your parents about yourself. What did you do? Manaha, you know manaha? Have you heard about manaha? How can you ترجم manaha? Manaha مش عارف الأردنية ولا العربية؟ أعطيني السبيلنج. T-A-N-T-R-U-M. واو أول مرة بعرفها. في لها ترجمة يعني. مش بس عربية. What is the idea? We are created in a way, as long as we are in a weak status, we always need a more powerful being to depend on. So if Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the wisdoms that we can conclude, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposed him to be not attached to anyone. So that's what was preparing him. This will be injected in his psyche, inside. That he lives at a certain point when he used to do what we call يتحنث في غار حراء. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when became a man with full manhood, he looking, what happens? Who is the creator of this universe? I mean, was not attached to anyone. His heart now is looking for the haqiqah, for the reality. This is one of the amazing wisdoms. But let's link this with what we call the concept of bala' al-ibtila, the trial. Trust Allah. When Allah decides to put you in the trial, superficially we have our own calculations. احنا حساباتنا mother. The best thing for you is to have a good money. But what if Allah tested you with less money? Does it mean Allah does not love you? No. Be careful. Be careful. If this is true, it means Allah does not love Muhammad because he did not let his father and his mother live to enjoy him. No, this is not the case. That's why the true meaning of Islam is the full submission to the will of Allah. If Allah decided to do so, just say Alhamdulillah. You don't know what's the khair, but after submission, Allah will help. Okay? Now we have 5 minutes left. I will start the topic that I will start next time. Now, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was born in what we call Am al-Fil. Am al-Fil. the year of the elephant. And by the way, it is authentic in our resources that he was born on Monday. But it's not authentic whether it was 12 Rabi' al-Awwal. Okay? So don't make a fight for the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal. It's not authentic. But in Hadith Sahih in Muslim, when he was asked about why he fasts Mondays and Thursdays, Hadith Sahih, قال عن Monday, قال هذا يوم ولدت فيه ويوم أنزل علي فيه. It was Monday, when he received the revelation and when he was born. Okay? In Hadith Sahih. So we know for sure that he was born in Monday. But he was born عام الفيل. What is عام الفيل? Next time we will start. It's something has to do with Abyssinia. Have you heard about Abyssinia? Ethiopia. Can you imagine that 1400 years ago, Abyssinia was one of the greatest kingdoms in the area? Powerful military, to a degree that the great Christian king of Abyssinia had a very great commander, chief commander for the army. His name was Abraha al-Ashram. Abraha al-Ashram was sent by, his country to Yemen, which means he passed the Red Sea. Because, if you can imagine now, this is Africa, for example, Abyssinia is here, here's the Red Sea, Yemen is here. So they traveled through the sea and they came and occupied Al-Yemen. The Christian Abyssinians, they occupied Al-Yemen, and they decided by force to spread Christianity. Now they knew that Arabs, pagan Arabs, they used to look with some kind of high, with a sacred way to the Kaaba. Because from the time of Abraham, the Kaaba is there. But Kaaba plus shirk, which means Kaaba plus pagans, idols. So it's mixed. Shirk and the roots of the Tawheed. Yet still the Arabs, they respect the Kaaba and they respect many things from the roots of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now, the Christian Abyssinians, they decided to convert the Arabs into what? To Christianity. So they sent Abraha, in our words today, a great army with mighty power. No one in Arabic Peninsula could ever stand for hours. It was very powerful. So one of the things that Abraha did, he said, I want to bring the attention of Arabs to our church. He built a church. According to the Seerah, the name of the church is Al-Qulais. Al-Qulais. It's a huge, great church. Now, one of the funny things in the history, pagan Arabs, they decided to curse Abraha. So two of them, they came at night and they did something bad inside the church. Actually, they did what we do when you go to the toilet and washroom. Literally, wallah, I'm not joking. This is mentioned in the history. So they came in the end and they did number 2. Inside the church, as a message of, hey, don't waste your time with us, the pagans. So Abraha decided to revenge from all Arabs. He decided to demolish Al-Kaaba. So he prepared one of the mightiest armies in the history of the Arabic Peninsula, and he, approached the Kaaba to get rid of the Kaaba as a revenge for what these two Arabs did in Al-Qulais. Okay? This is what we will start talking about, and the indications of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He was born just few months before this incident. That's what it was called Am al-Fil. We will say why it's Am al-Fil, the elephant, and what happened in Kaaba. What was the reaction of Abdul Muttalib? What's the relation between Abdul Muttalib and Abraha? And we will know about some of the traitors, okay, who betrayed their people at that time. It's an amazing political, ethical, messages in this story. Next time, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Reminder of Bukra?
Yes. Tomorrow we have a tafsir session, inshallah, between Maghrib and Isha. Thank you very much for the tea and the coffee.